Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Storytime with Kate Meszaros, and welcome to all our new subscribers and those of you that are liking and sharing these videos. It really helps to grow our Storytime channels. It's wonderful to have you here. Today, I'm going to share a sweet, poignant book called All from a Walnut. This book was written by Ammi-Joan Paquette, and it was illustrated by Felicita Sala. I hope you enjoy this book. It's a sweet little book about just generations of families and how things shift and change over time, and how our grandparents and those that came before us can teach us wonderful lessons. So, this is a story about a little girl and her wonderful grandfather. And I know all about that. I have a picture of my grandfather on my wall right above my computer, and I think about him every single day. So, let's take a moment to enjoy this beautiful book, All from a Walnut. One chilly morning, when Amelia woke, there was a nut on her nightstand. Ah, said Mom, it must be walnut season. Do you have a story for me? Amelia asked. Grandpa grinned. The best of stories. You can tell Amelia's heard many stories from Grandpa before. Many years ago, when I was a little nut like you, I lived very far from here, across a great wide ocean, in another country, on another continent, near a lake called Como. One day, my parents needed to move. It was a long journey, and we could bring very little with us, just one small bag each. That's all you brought? Asked Amelia. That and a nut, said Grandpa. This nut? Asked Amelia. Not this one, but a walnut just like it. Before we left, I picked it from the tree outside my window. I put it in my pocket. Together we crossed the great wide ocean to reach a new country on a new continent where we found our new home. Many generations ago, my family came from a different country on a different continent in Europe. Some of my family came from Germany. Some of them came from France. And I just found out recently that some of them even came from Ireland and England. So we have a lot of different countries in my family. When we arrived, I planted my nut in a little pot. Times were hard and we moved around a lot. My nut came with us. Soon it was a sprout and then a plant. And eventually I needed a bigger pot. Was it a nut tree? Asked Amelia. Not yet, said Grandpa. You can see how Grandpa's getting older as that walnut tree, is growing. I think it's a walnut tree, but we'll see. The tree became a sapling, and soon the pot was so big that it took two people to move. That was when I met your grandmother, and we came to this house. I planted my little tree in good brown soil so it would grow strong here forever. In this house? Amelia jumped up. In this yard? Shall we go see? Said Grandpa. Amelia ran for the door, but Grandpa moved slowly, like he was running low on batteries. Amelia came back and held his hand. They walked together. This is my tree, said Grandpa, and that one is your mother's. She got a nut too? Asked Amelia. When she was just about your age, Grandpa said. How do you grow a tree? Amelia asked. Grandpa smiled. First, you dig a hole. Tuck the nut, your seed, in its bed of good brown soil, and make sure it has enough sun and water to grow. And then you wait. The great journey has begun. Amelia waited for her tree to grow. She kept the pot on her windowsill, and Grandpa showed her how to give the plant enough water. Enough, but not too much. Look, Amelia cried one day, a sprout. Outside, the days got shorter and the nights got colder. But inside the snug pot, Amelia's sprout thickened and grew leaves. Grandpa showed her how to turn the pot to give her plant plenty of warm sun. Enough, but not too much. Notice Grandpa is getting older. That tree has taken a long time to grow. Here's Grandpa. As time passed, Grandpa moved more and more slowly. He stayed in his armchair most of the day, and sometimes he fell asleep right in the middle of a story. Grandpa, Amelia asked, are your batteries running low? Grandpa just squeezed her hand. Look at your nut, he said. See how it's grown. Grandpa's hands were wobbly, so Mom helped Amelia move the growing plant into a new, bigger pot. Will it ever become a tree? Amelia asked. It will, said Grandpa. All the best things grow with time. Even when you can't see them, they still grow. Amelia climbed onto his bony knee. She knotted her arms around his craggy shoulders, and she held on tight. After that, the days grew very cold and very dark. Amelia held her grandfather close for as long as she could, and then she said goodbye. Grandpa's own great journey had begun. He died. Another journey. Back home, Amelia went to her pot. The sapling looked as droopy as she felt. Amelia knew what she had to do. The pot was nearly as big as she was, but Amelia lugged and tugged it down the hall, across the porch, and into the yard. And then she began to dig. As she dug, Amelia thought of Grandpa's journey. Her own tree had come from a nut that had come from his tree. And they would always be a part of each other. Mom came out and squeezed Amelia's hand. They both held on tight. There was her new sapling, small but strong. And there was the tree her mother had planted many years ago. And spread wide over them both stood the biggest walnut tree of all, a tree that had long bony limbs and craggy branches, a tree that came from a nut that had crossed the world and found a home in this spot of earth. It would be here with them always. One day, Amelia would pick a nut from one of these branches, and then she would tell the old story all over again. Not now, but one day when walnut season came again. Here's Amelia grown up, and that's her son that she's going to tell this story to. Isn't that a wonderful story? I love that. I love how stories move through generations. And when I sit here at my computer and I write stories, I think about my grandfather and I think about my husband who passed away as well and who was grandpa or papa to our grandchildren. And because I love them so much and I love to have them nearby, I have their pictures right here. This is my grandmother, and she was, whoops, this is my grandmother when she was little. And my grandfather is sitting right there. That's a picture of him when he was in first grade. And then if I turn the camera this way, you can see a picture of my husband. This is him fishing at one of his favorite places. I took that picture a long time ago, but I keep those pictures there when I'm writing to remind me of their stories and their great journey that they're on now. So if you enjoyed this book, please share it with friends and family. I will put a link to the Toledo Lucas County Public Library where you can find this book and read it at home. So until I see you next time, everybody, have a great day.